All the leading teams certainly are on the harder tyre. That is the tyre of choice, that is the better tyre, but at some point this afternoon they're all going to have to use the softer option tyre, which isn't quite so good. It certainly has dropped in performance quite quickly. They're going to have to use it probably in the final stage of the race.
I'm expecting a two-stop race. I think Kovalainen, actually, in the Renault, who is starting 7th on the grid, is on the soft compound. But we're expecting 2 stops, with most of the competitors, as Morris says, starting on the hard compound, probably switching to the hard compound at the first stop, and then to the soft compound Bridgestone Potenza tyre at the second stop. And it's all quiet now. I can see the safety car coming into the background. There's 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and it's go, go, go! And straight into the lead goes Kimi Raikkonen. He's held his lead, and Felipe Massa sprints up, and he's going to take second place from Fernando Alonso. And he not only takes second place, he's fighting for the lead. They run very wide indeed. Are they all going to get round this first corner? This is absolutely fundamental, and it looks as though they will, and they have. No, there's a big spinner. The 2 BMWs have spun. Robert Kubica has done a complete spin and rejoined. He touched his teammate Nick Heidfeld. And so it's the 2 Ferraris up front.
And Lewis Hamilton's got a problem. His left rear tyre is punctured. Somebody has hit him. Looks like a front wing of somebody else has hit him. You can see him crabbing down the track, going very slowly. Lewis Hamilton.
Well, this is ideal as far as Ferrari are concerned, because it's Raikkonen in the lead. It's Felipe Massa has fought his way up into second place ahead of Alonso. It's the Renault, and David Coulthard has gone off in the Red Bull. So it's action and excitement all the way as they come down to the 65-mile-an-hour right-hander at the bottom of the course, and Lewis Hamilton is limping in.
And it's starting to rain as well, Murray. The rain is coming down in the start-finish area. The umbrellas are going up in the stands in front of us. Are they going to come in for wet tyres? Let's keep an eye on that.
Yeah, the teams, of course, will be watching, and they're running off. There's one of the Hondas gone off. I think it was Jenson Button, but I'm not at all sure. But meantime, it's Ferrari at the front, Ferrari in second place, then there's a very tight-knit bunch of people. And Rubens Barrichello is fighting his way through the field at the present moment. It's Kimi Raikkonen, Massa, Alonso, Kovalainen has fought his way up from 7th to 4th in the Renault. Jarno Trulli is 5th, Mark Webber has held his 6th place, and Raikkonen runs wide at the chicane and comes into the pits. Raikkonen and Massa and Alonso are coming into the pits to change tyres, and they're all pouring in now. It's going to be an incredibly difficult race to follow, but it's going to transform things. I'm seeing now Felipe Massa is having his tyres changed now. They're putting the wet compound Bridgestone tyres on, of course, and quite a long pit stop at this point of the time. 6.8 seconds for Massa, 6.7 seconds for 10 seconds for Fernando Alonso. In comes Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, he's made it to the pits. They're changing the tyres, which is good news actually for him. He's getting wet tyres on. He was going to have to come in anyway with that punctured left rear, but he's come in now. He's got wet tyres on, and I noticed that as the rain, you can definitely see it coming down the track as conditions are absolutely lethal. And we're seeing a new front wing being put on Nick Heidfeld's BMW after that little spin and little contretemps with his teammate. But the wet weather tyres are definitely de rigueur.
And it's not raining, it is deluging now. Stair rods are falling out of the skies above the Eiffel Mountains. Right? And Felipe Massa is coming up, but Kimi Raikkonen is back in the running. And the order at the present moment is Kimi Raikkonen in the lead, Massa is second, Alonso is third. So it's Ferrari, McLaren. Alex Wurz in the Williams Toyota has fought his way up into 4th position. And remember that Wurz has got a 3rd place already this year in Canada, and it's turning into a skating rink.
It really is, because Fisichella, who didn't stop, has just skated off the track. But how is Raikkonen getting on? Because he hasn't stopped yet for wets now. How is he tiptoeing round? I haven't seen him. I don't know where he is, but it must be so difficult. He's shown as the leader at the moment.
And Winkelhock goes through in the orange Spiker, well down the field. But when he's not well down the field, he's actually in 10th position, because he's yet to come in, as I look now, at the leader.
Yeah, indeed, it's Kimi Raikkonen finally made it to the pits. He's done it. He somehow made it round. It took him another 15 seconds on the middle sector of that lap alone over everybody else to get round, but he's made it back to the pits.
So Massa takes the lead. Alonso is in second place. and they're still coming in. One or two stragglers have stayed out on slick tyres and are now coming into the pits, and Jenson Button is up into 5th position. Well, this is lap 3 out of 60. The Ferrari mechanics are working frantically on Raikkonen's car, not just to change tyres, but also to adjust the front wing angle, so he's concerned about some aspect of the aerodynamics. And believe it or not, Marcus Winkelhock, as Jenson Button spins out of the race. Jenson Button in the Honda, who was in 5th place, is out of the race, climbing out of the car. He has spun off, and the spiker goes straight into the tyre wall there. Adrian Sutil. This reminds me of the race at I'm looking at 3 cars now. One of them's a McLaren, and it's off, and it's Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is off at the same corner as Jenson Button. Yeah. This race is turning into the one just like Silverstone, and they're flying off. There's another one, gone straight into the side of Jenson Button's car. And another. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars off at the corner.
And there's another one stranded on the outside of the corner. It's just so... And these cars have got wet weather tyres on, but I don't think they've got the extreme... When it's lashing down, Murray, it is absolutely lashing down. The problem is they put wet weather tyres on. They really needed to put the second choice, the extreme wet, on to cope with these conditions, because the wets just aren't doing the job. Look, 5 cars off. And
I tell you a problem that they're going to have as well. The electronics of these cars are designed to cut the engines out if the revolutions fall below a certain figure, and there's a day the safety car is going out. The Mercedes-Benz safety car is going out. We're on lap 3 now, with Marcus Winkelhock leading his first ever Grand Prix in the Spiker on account of the fact that he had not come in for tyres. Felipe Massa in 2nd place. Alonso is in 3rd position. Liuzzi has just gone off in the Red Bull. I've lost count, Morris. I don't know if you've been counting how many cars have gone off, but there's at least 7.
I tell you what, Liuzzi nearly collected the safety car. The safety car was waiting to join the track, and Liuzzi spun, and he just missed it, but he's hit a tractor, we believe, on the way out. This is Outfield Radio.
It's safety car now, safety car, Nick, safety car.
Well, that's good news for Nick Hadfield. He'd be glad to hear that, Murray, that the safety car's out, because they cannot go round and attempt to race in these conditions. And they'll have to form behind the safety car now until they're allowed into the pits if they so wish to change to the more extreme wet weather tyre. But for the moment, this is the best move, as we see Lewis Hamilton's McLaren being craned away. He's been craned back onto the track. I wonder if he's going to start again, because he's still sitting in it, Murray. In fact,
and the engine's running, and Lewis Hamilton, who was literally sitting up in the air at the end of the crane hook, has now been put back on the track and has rejoined it. And the way things are at the present moment, anything could happen, including him climbing his way through the field. But we're on lap 4. Marcus Winkelhock is still up there. Felipe Massa is still in 2nd place. Fernando Alonso is tucked up right behind the Ferrari, just 0.5 of a second. Mark Webber is up into 4th place in the Red Bull. He started 6th. And believe it or not, his teammate David Coulthard, who started well down the grid in 20th place in the 2nd Red Bull, is up into 5th position ahead of Heikki Kovalainen. But now they've got to form up behind the safety car. Winkelhock first, and then the safety car, if it follows the correct procedure, which I'm sure it will do, will wave them through until he's got everybody in race order behind him.
I think, Murray, we need to explain how Marcus Winkelhock happens to be leading this race. Now, before the race started, he actually went into the pits and took the start from the end of the pit lane, and I'm wondering, I think what must have happened is, when he was there, the Spiker team thought, right, we'll stick wet weather tyres on now. And that's why he's able to carry out and stay ahead of the field. So here's a Spiker.
Well, we've had a rookie leading the World Championship. Are we going to have a first-timer winning the European Grand Prix? I think not.
Well, the way that things are going here, anything could happen, Murray.
Well, anyway, on lap 4 with the safety car out, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at them, I'm laughing with them. This is a quite incredible situation.
If there's any likelihood of this being restarted,
Just David Coulthard.
If it's water conditions, then obviously we need to go to the full wet.
That's right, there we are. David Coulthard saying if the race isn't going to stop, we'll need to go to the full wet, the extreme wet, because the conditions are so bad, so you'll have to come in.
There's great roosters of spray coming up from the rear tyres of these cars. And Felipe Massa, as I look at him now, is fighting a slide which goes left and right. It's literally like being on an ice rink. I'm seeing a replay of Jenson Button just sliding off the circuit. Nothing he can do about it, because the circuit is practically waterlogged in parts, and there is Hamilton on a replay going off as Button gets out of the car.
Yeah, it's at the downhill run to turn 1, and we've got a red flag. They're actually going to stop the race, Maria, because the conditions
Well,
are
I was
just
just
too
about
atrocious.
to say to you, Morris, do you think they'll stop the race? I think they have to stop the race because it's no laughing matter. These cars, 750 horsepower, they'll do well over 200 miles an hour, and they're aquaplaning all the way around the circuit. It's very, very dangerous.
Yeah, that particular worst part seems to be that first corner, Murray, because as we were saying earlier, the approach is downhill, so it's difficult enough to stop the car at the best of times, and when the track is wet and greasy like this, and also the camber there is very, very difficult. It's kind of there's a crown to the track. It's very rare you get that at a racetrack. There's a crown to the track as you go down there with the camber dropping left and right, and if the car slightly gets off the edge of that in these conditions, well, you saw what happened. Cars are just spinning like tops all over the place.
Well, we're on lap 5 now, or were on lap 5. I'm waiting for the cars to come in, and we'll see what happens when they form up. Ironically, it's just like it was on Friday, because as far as I can see from the commentary box, looking at the surface, yes, there are some spots of rain, but this absolute deluge is no longer the case. Felipe Massa, followed by Alonso, goes touring across the line. They've all got their red lights at the rear showing now, because it's mandatory that when the conditions are like this, that's what's going to happen. And it was Heidfeld who went into Kubica at the beginning of the race. The worst thing that could happen between two teammates is for them to drive into each other, but I think they got an excuse on this occasion.
Yes, I think the conditions is just a matter of survival, really, just keeping out of trouble. But I don't think I've seen a first lap with so much contact in it during it than this one, and most of it happened on that the first corner, and then the complex of corners that follows after. Very tight, long left-hander through turns 2 and 3 and into 4, where they rejoin where the old circuit used to be. But that's where there's been a lot of bumping and barging. Of course, everybody trying to make the most of the first lap, trying to get as much ground as they could. But then the rain came and just changed everything. So now we're waiting to see. We're showing red flag as the car's forming on the grid, as it's supposed to do. You're supposed to form on the grid and wait until you're told what is going to happen next. They aren't allowed to go into the pits at this stage.
I think, Morris, there's one or two chaps who need to read the rule book. I'm looking down, and we're at the front of the grid, and Alonso and Massa have disappeared off to our left somewhere. This restarting race is quite a complicated procedure. But while we talk to you, the mechanics are pouring out onto the grid with their trolleys and rolling tyre stands, because obviously all the cars now who are not on wets, and I would imagine on intermediate